Teofimo Lopez. People are wondering what's next for him. Does he stay at 140? Does he move up to welterweight? Because he's been saying that he wanted to fight Terrence Crawford. He said he's willing to go to 154 for Crawford. Which is, listen, man. Other fighters want to go up weight classes, so I can't be mad at Teofimo for Lopez for wanting to move up 2 weight classes as well. All right, Terrence Crawford wants to move up. Other fighters want to do the same thing, so we can't really fault Teo for the same thing, But that's, to me, biting off a hell of a lot more than he could chew, man. Teofimo Lopez, bro, at 135, he was good. He was a heavy puncher. He was getting all the knockouts. Like most of the dudes were smaller than him, naturally. So he was pretty much a force to wreck with at 135, man. He moves up to 140, and that's where the trouble seems to be starting for Teofimo. All right, at 140, man, he has looked very lackluster. He's only got 1 knockout in 2 years. His last knockout was in 2022. That was against Pedro Campa. And even in that fight, he kind of struggled to get the knockout. And he's been at 140 for going on. Yeah, this is 2 years now, a little over 2 years. It'll be 2 years on the 13th. Actually, today, it will make 2 years to the exact that Teofimo Lopez has been at super lightweight, and he hasn't had a knockout since. His next 4 fights, he's 5 fights into the division, and all of them went the distance from Sandor Martin, Josh Taylor, Jermaine Ortiz, and Steve Claggett. And he struggled against Sandor Martin, and many say he also got knocked down in that fight. Josh Taylor, he looked very good against Josh Taylor. He put on a good clinic against Taylor. Jermaine Ortiz, he struggled against him. And Steve Claggett, pretty much the same thing against Claggett. It was a lackluster in the power department because he barely rattled Claggett. Claggett was on his ass all night. And Teo did pretty good against him in that sense. Okay, Teofimo Lopez does good against fighters that come forward, that press him, so he can counter him and look good against as well. He don't like fighters that move around, have a lot of movement. He doesn't do good against those kind of fighters. And in the middle of the ring, he's like also kind of subpar, but he definitely does really good when you press him and you're a come forward fighter. He loves that. All right. But his power has not carried up to 140. And I noticed it when he fought Pedro Campa back in 2022. He didn't look as explosive as he usually does. He's a bit slower He's a bit slower as well at 140. So now we can pretty much, I don't think he's moving up to no damn 154. So we know the next stop on his train is 147. And he is the current WBO 140-pound champion, Teofimo Lopez. So that opens up the room for a fight with no other than Brian Norman Jr. I believe Teo even brought that up. But here's the thing. The problem is, man, like I said, all right, Bud pretty much vacates the WBO. And I think he also, some reports saying he vacated the WBA, others are saying he's going to get stripped from it if he don't vacate it anyway. All right, so it's safe to say Bud vacated both belts. But the WBO, he did, so that makes Brian Norman Jr. the new WBO champion. So Teofimo, he get to activate his champion status down at that weight, and he gets to, if he moves up to welterweight, he can automatically activate that and go right into a fight with Brian Norman Jr. So the problem with that is, like I said, Teo's his power didn't carry, man. I think he leveled out at 135. I think that was his limit. He goes up to 147, dude. That is where he's going to be lunch. He's going to be lunch up there, bro. For damn near all of the top dudes, some of the dudes even in the top 5. He's going to be lunch, dude. He is going to be lunch. Listen, Brian Norman Jr. is a dangerous fight for Teofimo Lopez, man. It's a big name on Brian Norman Jr.'s resume, though. A pretty good name. You know, you had a current, a former unified champ. He's a 2-division champion. That's a good look on Brian Norman Jr.'s resume. But the risk Tio will take going up to welterweight, man, knowing that his power ain't carrying is tremendous, man. I don't think it's a good idea. Do I think it's a good idea? I have to take that back. This is boxing. I love the challenge. But when I say it's not a good idea, it's not a good idea as far as, you know, him really succeeding, and he will get his ass whooped up there. So in a sense, it is a bad idea, but it's a good one for boxing. Put it like that. But if he wants that Brian Norman smoke, go right ahead, brother. Ain't nobody mad at you for that, but just understand, you get sent into the shadow realm, you know, hey, you dare to be great at least, right? Just my take on it, man. Anyway, let me know what y'all think about a potential fight between Teofimo Lopez and Brian Norman Jr. And how you feel about Tio moving up to welterweight, period. Overall, what's your take and what's your thoughts on that? Get back to me, man. You know what it is. I'll catch y'all on the next one.